Boy, you are nuts. NVTS nuts.
I'm Brian Foster, and this is the Grindhouse Institute. On each episode of this podcast, Jeremy Floyd and I program a double or triple feature movie night. Each of the movies share common themes, and we discuss them here. We're happy you could join us for today's block we call The History of the Worlds. After making 6 movies in 10 years, several of which being instant classics, by the end of the 1970s, Mel Brooks had established himself as the king of the parodies.
It's good to be the king.
The 80s, however, proved to be his least productive decade, only directing 2 movies. However, both movies proved to be some of his best work. From the Stone Age to Moses, to the Roman Empire, to the Spanish Inquisition, to the French Revolution, get ready to take a comedic trip through history at ludicrous speed. This movie features an all-star cast, including Orson Welles, Madeline Kahn, Dom DeLuise, Gregory Hines, and Mel Brooks. Always intended as a standalone movie, with the title being a reference to a 17th century unfinished series of books, this is Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1 from 1981. After depleting their own planet's supply of oxygen, the evil Spaceballs kidnap the Princess of Druidia in a plot to steal 10,000 years of the planet's fresh air. With no other option, King Roland must turn to the ragtag team of Lone Star and Barf to save the princess and ensure the safety of the Druish people. Rick Moranis, Bill Pullman, John Candy, Joan Rivers, and a spaceship full of assholes all star in Mel Brooks' Spaceballs from 1987. Thank you for listening to the Grindhouse Institute. Please enjoy.
There it is, planet Druidia. And underneath the air shield, 10,000 years of fresh air.
Once we kidnap the princess, we can force her father, King Roland, to give us the combination to the air shield, thereby destroying planet Druidia and saving planet Spaceball.
Everybody got that?
All pay heed. Now enters His Holiness, Torquemada, the Grand Inquisitor of the Spanish Inquisition.
All right, welcome back to the Grindhouse Institute. I'm Brian Foster, and with me, as always, is Jeremy Floyd. Hello, and how are you?
Brian, did you kill last week?
No.
Did you try to kill last week?
Yeah.
Now listen, this is your last week of unemployment insurance. Either you kill somebody next week or we're gonna have to change your status. You got it?
Yeah.
Sign.
Well, welcome back to another amazing show. Today we're talking some Mel Brooks films. And with us is a very special guest. Jeremy, if you could please do the introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing some 80s classics, some of Mel Brooks' finest. And so we had to bring on a Mel Brooks superfan and filmmaker, Dani Abraham. Welcome.
Oh my gosh. Hi. I love being called Mel Brooks superfan because that's the best way to describe me.
Yeah.
Is that true? Are you a superfan?
Yeah. Since
It
I was
seems
like
like it.
7.
Yeah.
He was like the first big girl movie I ever watched was the Mel Brooks movie, and it kind of never stopped after that.
Which one was the first one?
It was Young Frankenstein.
Okay.
I was like 7-ish, and I was at Blockbuster trying to rent some Casper movie for the 8th time, and my grandma was like, absolutely not. I'm going to show you a real movie. She took me home and she showed me that movie.
So you were shepherded into the Mel Brooks world. That's amazing.
Yeah, I am Jewish, so, it's like a rite of passage.
Right.
That, and then you have your bat mitzvah. And
And you're finally a woman, yeah. So
exactly,
right.
exactly.
There's a ritual there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and then also, I guess we all have, and maybe we'll share some of this a little later, but we all have maybe some interactions with Mel Brooks because we all used to work right next to him.
The best.
What a strange time of my life that was. Like, just thinking back, and I'm like, I just moved out to LA, and I'm working 100 feet from Mel Brooks and walking next to him.
Literally, like, I remember like starting and someone saying, "Oh, Mel Brooks works on this lot," and for some reason I thought they were trolling me, as if they would know that I cared about Mel Brooks. You know what I mean?
Wait, how'd you know that I love Mel Brooks?
Yeah, I was like, how'd you know
because
that?
you're human and you're alive. I don't know. Yeah.
Exactly.
You have a sense of humor?
Yeah.
Oh my god! And then, just like when you would see him, just like being like a jolly old man on the set, or like on the lot. I mean, like.
But it was really inspiring because, I mean, he'd just come in his Toyota Highlander or whatever. It was like a hybrid car,
Right.
nothing too flashy at all. And
He almost hit me with that.
Jump in, he would come into the lot at 10 a.m. on the dot every day and go right to work. And it was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and he had no problem with anyone coming up to him and being like, "Hey, how you doing?" He would say hi. He would stop. He would talk to you. He took a picture with
my
our
gosh.
buddy Chris Michael. It's one of the, I think that's like his profile picture on everything that he does
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I have a picture with Mel Brooks. I have it framed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the picture behind you back there?
I was actually not this one. No, it's in the closet, but it was framed. And I was hungover at work when I met him and asked him for the photo, but it doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
could tell behind my eyes that I was hungover, but you could also tell that I was so fucking happy. So
I'm sorry, I'm on my wine break.
So if you haven't guessed it yet, we are talking Mel Brooks movies. We are talking History of the World Part 1. Was that 1981? Yep.
81. Yeah.
And Spaceballs from 87? 87. Wow, that second one was a guess, and I got it.
Nailed it.
Let's start with this. I do want to admit something. As big of a Mel Brooks fan as I am, I never got to see History of the World Part 1 all the way through until this
really?
podcast. I
Wow.
had seen clips of it, obviously, because it's
Well,
all
you're
over.
welcome.
And I was going to say thank you. Just to let you know, I have watched it 3 times for this one podcast. I swear.
good.
That's awesome.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
It's definitely climbed the charts on my faves of his, but Spaceballs of these two is my ultimate favorite. But we can get into History of the World Part 1. How do you want to break this one down? It's kind of tough, but we could break it down anthology style. Like
Yeah,
we've
it's
done.
kind of an anthology film, actually.
Yeah.
Just because it's these various sketches there.
Yeah, more of like a sketch showcase, or if you
Yeah.
will. But yeah,
Yeah.
reoccurring characters and all that. It's great. But I mean, I'd like to start with the Stone Age. I mean, Sid Caesar.
No,
delivering no
even before
lines.
that, they had the 2001 scene, which I totally forgot about, and I was crying, laughing. I was like, I can't believe that,
They're all
how
like-
insane it was.
Sex.
They start
So good.
standing, like they go from like laying down to standing up. It's like, oh man, took his first step, and he started jacking off immediately.
Sounds about
Laid back
right.
down.
Commentary.
Sounds about right. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh god, no. That actually, I started the movie when I had a friend in town, and she literally just looks at me like wide-eyed, like, what is this movie? Because like obviously she recognized the opening sketch. She was like, oh, this movie.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that it was not that movie. And
She thought you put in 2001.
I think so. As if I would ever.
Because usually his movies are parodies, right? And this one doesn't
Yeah.
really have any parodies other than that.
Right.
I mean,
right. Yeah.
I guess there's some
Well,
of like epic films like Ben-Hur and things like that.
Yeah,
but-
and
Right.
it's Spartacus a little later on,
Right.
when they do the sort of trident and net fight, like
Oh, yeah.
when he bombs, telling jokes for the Caesar or whatever.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. All the way up to the emperor. Shit.
Tomicus, the stand-up philosopher.
Did you bullshit this week?
Stand-up philosopher. I coalesce the vapor of human experience into a viable and logical comprehension.
Oh, a bullshit artist.
God, it was so good. It was the attention to detail, like it was so smart. And like honestly, and like not to like bring this back to like the requel, but just like that's what I was
don't
expecting.
know what you're talking
You don't know what I'm talking about, yeah. Yeah, you know what? Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it. But we didn't have any of that, you know? The attention to detail.
We can bring
and
it
the,
up.
like,
It's a reality. It's happened. It's out there.
Okay. So I entered therapy this week because of History of the World Part 2. And truly, it was because I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. The whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, why is this not as good? And then I realized, truly, like, from, like, a filmmaking standpoint, I'm like, oh my god, they tried so hard to just put history in 2023, where History of the World Part 1 just took, like, 80s references and threw it into history, which is why it was
Right.
so funny, like when you have like B. Arthur, who fucking legend, and she's there like asking like, did you bullshit this week? Did you try to bullshit this week? Like
Unemployment line.
As
the unemployment line, like
employment line, whatever.
Yeah,
The
literally,
Roman U's as V's.
literally, like when I was on unemployment, I was like I was like going on the website and it was like, did you look for work this week? But I wasn't reading that. I was reading, did you bullshit this week? Did you try to bullshit this week? Like, that was...
Listen, if you don't bullshit next week, you're getting cut off.
You're getting cut off. This is your last week of unemployment.
This counter's closed. I'm on my wine break.
And it's just like so good. And like that was, I think, why that movie was so smart. And like you mentioned, like, okay, this one's the only movie of his that's not really a parody. I mean, aside from like some moments that are a parody, but it's literally a parody of history books.
Yeah.
Like that's
or historical epics. You know, there's like the 10 Commandments, the 15.
Oh my God, 15 Commandments.
Moses,
God.
the 15.
10.
Shit.
And he parts the Red Sea because he's getting held up.
Oh yeah, what a wonderful man! And he's just like, you can't be an old man anywhere these days. It's so good.
And keep him up. You son of a bitch, you bastard! An old man, they don't let you live, they don't let you breathe! Son of a bitch!
But that was like, I mean, Mel Brooks can do it, and not everyone can like. It's just a type of comedy that like I just miss so
well,
much.
I think that's interesting because I mean, in Spaceballs I saw when I was very young, like you had mentioned as well. But this one, the comedy in these is somewhat childish, right? Like he doesn't really go for like these really intellectual comedy bombs.
Yeah,
it's more just goofy slapsticky stuff. Sometimes it's a little bit cartoonish, but at the same time, his like the themes behind it are so deep, and it just makes it a little bit more, I guess, easy to take or easy to deliver. And then also anyone can watch these and be amused by them somehow, any age, I should say. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, I mean, like I think I saw History of the World for the first time like 8th or 9th grade. So like I wasn't like super young, but that's like pretty young. And I did not get the eunuch stuff.
Different
like,
than now, right? Yeah, exactly.
Different than now.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of stuff that
He's
did
definitely
not.
a eunuch. He's dead.
He's dead. Yeah, like I did not get that. I was like
I laughed so hard when he... I'm sorry.
With the feather. No,
Yeah, exactly.
with the feather
It's such a perfect visual gag, like the one feather lifting up.
Yeah, I must have been like 7th or 8th grade now that I think about it, because like it just really went right over my head. And then I saw it a little bit later, and the movie is 10 times funnier because I got more of it. And now I'm like 30, and hopefully I get all the jokes now. But if I don't, it'll be really fun when I'm like 35 and catching jokes I never got.
Exactly.
But it's so smart, even though it's stupid.
You have to give him some time. He has just been snipped.
Mel Brooks got away with a lot of stuff, right? And like, the like Caesar scene, like I don't remember when I think we were recording when we were talking about that with the Julius Caesar, like
Nero.
Yeah. And like he was doing like the stand-up philosopher stuff or whatever, and
Comicus.
Comicus, and like he was making like fat jokes, which like would never fly today, obviously for obvious reasons.
Well, also the reference to the gay person in the room was not the most eloquent of words.
Oh my God! You know what? I watched this like today and was like, oh my God, he said what? And I'm like,
and that's a Dom DeLuise thing that came from Blazing Saddles as well. There's that scene as well at the end when he says the same word in the meta fourth wall breaking ending there.
I don't think I remember that line.
Steam releasing.
I mean, looks like we got to do another Brooks block. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what though? Happily, I'll come back and I've got the box set, so
we're already planning the next one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, got it.
But he's getting away with the fat jokes and the.
Oh yeah, just like super childish stuff, but the way it was like played off, and Dom DeLuise just like leaning heavily into the comedy, and like everyone just like played the part so well that like it was funny. Whereas today, like it just stuff like that wouldn't hit.
Did he say the exact thing?
Yes, he did, sire.
Do you think he meant me?
I believe he did, sire.
Oh.
And everyone's got like their intro joke. You know, Madeline Kahn's like,
could you please step on the same foot at the same time? My tits are falling off!
So good.
And her name's Nympho, or Empress Nympho.
Empress Nympho.
Yeah.
So good. good. The QuickTime Heart. I love QuickTime Heart.
Yeah. It's like, well, what happens if they're captured? If they're captured, they're hung.
Not necessarily.
God, Madeline Kahn gone too soon.
Absolutely gone too soon. Yeah.
She was such a legend. Also, like, I know we're not talking about Young Frankenstein on this one, but God.
Go for it.
That's one of her best. Yeah.
The best. And what, she has like 15 minutes of screen time.
Tap it,
Like,
darling.
Yeah.
Tap it, sweetheart.
Tap it. No, you're wrinkling it.
Nope, the lips, the hair. She's so good. Oh my gosh. Everyone though, from most of these movies, I feel like is gone at this point, which is horrible. Like, I think Cloris Leachman just passed away, right? Mm. Yeah, she died in 2021. So I feel like, everyone is just...
Is Mel the only one left?
I don't want to say yes.
I mean, technically,
Technically,
I think... Oh, no, that was Carl Reiner, not Rob Reiner.
Carl Reiner passed away a few years ago.
Yeah. Because Carl Reiner was the voice of God that's apparently uncredited to Moses, talking to Moses.
No way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is a very fun fact. I did not know that.
Moses, this is the Lord thy God. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. A deaf man could hear you.
What?
But what's interesting about this one is like it is short sketches, and it kind of it doesn't like last too long, but there are a few that are longer than others, right? The French Revolution's kind of its own movie within short movie.
The Roman Empire one too.
And then exactly. And then I mean the Inquisition is more just a musical interlude.
The Inquisition.
Perfect. Oh my God.
We're on a mission.
Yeah. That section is just brilliant. The guys I don't know, dangling in chains or whatever, and like the sort of rhyming songs that they sing back and forth.
I was minding my own business, like sitting on the toilet or whatever he was doing. I don't remember.
I didn't even know them, and they grabbed me by the scrotum, and they started playing ping pong with my balls.
Why the shame? It's so good.
That was good.
So good.
I fucking lost it. I always forget about that, and it always kills me.
God.
Like I was like, gasping for air. I was like, I couldn't even breathe.
Is that considerate? Is that polite? And not a tube of preparation H in sight.
What's so great about all those little things? I mean, first of all, I mean, his sort of musical theater style comedy. I don't know. Not everybody can pull that off. I mean, even though sometimes they're funny, like earlier Family Guy or whatever would kind of get away with it, but like in this one, I mean one of the funniest sections, the Spanish Inquisition, was back to back songs, and they were all hilarious.
Oh yeah, I mean it was just like one giant. It felt like Springtime for Hitler, but like
yeah.
But like for history of the world.
Exactly.
Which I guess Springtime for Hitler could have just been Hitler on Ice, but
But if you listen to that song, it's all facts, and it does kind of go through how the Spanish Inquisition happened.
Totally, which is
with the actual water torture, but they turned it into a water dance, like a synchronized swimming dance,
the Bubsy Berkeley sequence,
with the reverse shot of coming out of the water and everything.
When the Jews are like flying out the sewer, like into the pool,
like a water slide,
drowning, but the like nuns are like dancing around them, which is like I can't believe that's a sentence I just said out loud. Like what a fucking ridiculous concept. Like I can just see the pitch meeting now. Like we're gonna have a bunch of nuns and they're gonna take off their robes and then they're gonna synchronize dance and then we're gonna sling Jews into the pool. Like, what the fuck? I love it so much.
I'm sitting flicking chickens and I'm looking through the pickings and suddenly these guys break down my balls. I didn't even know them and they grabbed me by the scrotum and they started playing ping pong with my balls.
The thing that's interesting, like talking about some things that maybe one wouldn't get away with, maybe not some of the more offensive stuff in here, but even some of the more subtle stuff here, like just how horny the movie is. Like, there's something like very odd about how movies and TV shows and whatever are made now that have to sort of be very prudish about sex and very much deny that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas here, like almost all the jokes are sort of, that is baked in as like, yep, that's his whatever, kind of drives
good to be
people.
king.
And it's good to be the king.
It's good to be the king.
Every single thing Madeline Kahn did was.
Oh my God.
It was always a reference. Yeah, some
so
sort of,
sexual.
Yeah.
We need you. Yeah. Oh my God. The no, yes scene. Like, actually, like right before this started, like I was like watching the movie and I recorded it. I was like, so many butts, so I had to post it on my close friend story. And I was like, if you've never seen this movie, you've been deprived of happiness your whole life. I know that the 8 friends that I have on there is going to be like, the fuck kind of shit do you watch? Because it's literally just like butts and her being like, yes, no. Oh, she's so good. But that was like the character she played the best. I mean, she did it so well in
Blazing
Saddles.
And
Blazing
Frankenstein,
Saddles.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's Twoo.
Yeah.
So good.
You were making a German spectacle of yourself.
She's so funny. Oh.
No. Wait a minute.
Maybe it's just Mel Brooks that could get away with that shit. Because, like, seemingly, like, a lot of other people who have had that kind of comedy movies come out, like, they've been canceled. And, like, Mel has not been. So, I don't know.
That's a really good point.
But I feel like a lot of people also just, like, it's like, okay, the times were different. Yes, everything was sexualized. And, like, yes, Madeline Kahn just, like, sexualized everything. But, like, they would point the finger at Mel Brooks. But, like, I think the way he did things, like, you look at Blazing Saddles, you're like, you should cancel him. But, like, no, because he also did it with Richard Pryor. And, like, it worked for that reason. And, like, I don't know. Like, I wonder what it would have been like to work
I think
on
Mel,
film with
if
him.
anything, is an ally to all, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Like he's
yeah,
all
if you make
inclusive.
if you make fun of everyone, you hate nobody, right?
Which I thought
how it
that was the
works.
rule for comedy for a while, right? Or at least like for the last before cancellation started, was that comedy was kind of like if everyone's included and no one is safe, that means it's funny for everyone, and it was like that's a good thing. But
no,
now you gotta be
that was
careful.
the Family Guy model. I remember that too. Like watching it, like if you weren't made fun of, like
yeah.
Count the money. The Monet. Monet, say it. Monet. Monet. Perfect, don't forget.
This one was a great segment though because we've got all the friends, right? Harvey Korman is in there, and
oh my gosh, de money,
de money,
count de money. It's just so
Don't
good when you
correct
say it
me.
out.
Yeah. And then his sidekick Bernays.
Don't be saucy with me, Bernays.
I like this one because it was kind of like another like short film within there, and it kind of gave like a full beginning, middle, and end. And then it just ends right going into some stupid ending of History of the World.
It's going to be a big ending.
Literally, just a big end.
The Rocks, the end.
Yeah.
Wait, don't go.
Preview of coming attractions.
Stay tuned for History of the World Part 2, which has so much potential from
Hitler
this
on
alone.
Ice.
God, Hitler on Ice. Just another reason to make fun of Hitler, and it's so fun.
I like that one, and I like the Viking funeral too, because they
my God.
they have the pyre go, and then they just take off their helmets, and they still have
they
horns.
still have the
their
horns.
Oh my God.
Talk about childish humor.
I know.
But that is the visual gags are so good. Like he never really did too much with the camera, right? He wasn't like a cinematography guy, but it was clear.
You know what? I was about to say that, especially on this one, and a couple of his other movies. It's like, the sort of cinema of it, like where he places his camera, like is it
The
shallow
reveals.
focus? Like is this with the camera movement over here makes the joke? No, it's like for him, it's just he has these sort of wide shots, like he's almost filming a stage.
Not a lot of cuts
play.
either. Yeah,
and lets the sort of the actors and the players take the reins of the film, and like this one in particular, it like the filmmaking itself is very sort of utilitarian to get to the gags, to get to the jokes.
It's like watching an improv comedy show, right? Like,
Yeah. It's like a real tight improv show almost. And then, I think, Spaceballs, kind of actually does have some more of that. Like, does like look prettier and have more of a vision or whatever behind it and all these things. But it is funny, like how much he can get away with almost making a film a stage play,
just a wide,
because it's just so fucking funny. Top to
the
bottom.
one of the things that I remember in Spaceballs that reminded me of that was the Mr. Coffee reveal. And he's like, "What's all this churning and bubbling?"
Right,
And then he's like, "Nope, this is Mr. Coffee," and they just do a slight tilt up,
Like,
and
you
see
want smacks it, Mr. Radar.
Mr. Radar.
I always drink coffee when I'm watching Radar. Everyone knows that. Of course we do,
Doesn't
sir.
everyone know that? Of course we do, sir.
Now that I have my
gosh.
coffee, I'm ready to watch Radar. Where is it?
It's right here, sir. In front of you.
What's the matter with this thing? What's all that churning and bubbling? You call that a radar screen?
No, sir. We call it Mr. Coffee. Care for some?
So
Oh
what I
my
love,
gosh.
if we're moving on, what I love about this is like we have History of the World Part 1. It ends with all these like fake trailers of coming attractions. One of them being Jews in Space, and you have to imagine that the sort of like the nugget or the concept of Jews in Space got sort of blown up and turned into Spaceballs.
Yes.
100%. Had to have. I mean...
I have a comment on that, and it goes back to our John Carpenter pre-Halloween episodes.
Okay.
Jews in Space in History of the World feels like Dark Star, and you watch it. It's got like a visual aesthetic that feels like Dark Star. Then Spaceballs is totally Star Wars,
Right.
like, but it's almost like it was John Carpenter making a parody of his own shit, before all of a sudden his big movie came out, like
right.
It's interesting. It just had that kind of grainy Dark Star feel to it.
Yeah, like it was like they didn't budget for these ending gags the right way, and so that they were just making it with as little much as.
right,
I mean, Hitler on Ice.
Legos
Literally, they just rented out an ice rink and had Hitler running around.
Like literally no one there. It was just that one actor.
Just that, and it was a spotlight. It was not even.
They had one operator, a camera guy, and then the ice.
That was it.
And Hitler.
Oh my gosh.
Jews are in space, we're zooming along, protecting the Hebrew race.
Which actually, I was gonna bring up Robin Hood Men in Tights on this chat because I just finished watching the movie, and the Jews in Space song that like comes up at the very end.
Same music, right? They're same.
I forgot that it's the same thing. And 6 years later, we're Men in Tights is what everyone associates with that.
And
lyric.
also, I don't know if you remember, like Madeline Kahn was talking about like all the virgins, whatever, and they had these like no entry signs and whatever, which is like the lockbox panties, the chastity belt, and
the chastity
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
I forgot about that too.
Oh, chastity belt? That's gonna chafe my willy.
We're men in tights. We roam around the forest looking for fights.
I guess maybe this is an interesting thing to bring up because, like, in History of the World Part 2, the reboot, sequel on Hulu, they take this idea of just having parody versions of big moments in history or whatever. But instead of having each one be its own section, they break them up in this very scattered, very unfocused way, and then every time you cut back to one, they have to catch you up on what happened.
Right.
Like,
and that felt weird.
Previously on.
Yeah. As opposed to just like, let's all do one Civil War, let's all do one,
like,
Russian Revolution,
And they could have been 10, 15 minutes
Right.
long each. They could have been real snacky, and
100%.
that'd have been awesome.
When they were like advertising it, they're like a 4-night event. So in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, 4
periods.
nights.
Yeah.
They're gonna have one night be. I don't even remember what they did on it because it was so ADD what they did, like the Russian Revolution and but they could have done that. They could have done. Oh my God! What else did they do? It was like all over the place.
Civil
I couldn't
War.
follow it.
Rasputin was the.
They did the Civil War. That's right.
The Civil War, yeah, right.
But like
and then they did Christ, right? Didn't they do?
Yeah.
But didn't that was like only a small segment, right? Or did they go back to it?
They kept coming back to it. Yeah. Oh no, because it was like Christ Your Enthusiasm or something. It was like a kind of a
it was Curb
parody.
Yeah, it was Curb. Yeah, that's right. That's what it
was.
was.
Yeah.
JB Smoove in it.
I mean, like
that worked for me actually. I like JB Smoove.
Okay,
but you said it. You said it. There was a 4-night event, right? They could have broken it down. Even if you did 2 segments per night, you still have just about the same amount of segments that were in the movie, 6 or so. And you could have made that work, and you'd have been so focused. I think people would have been all about that.
Would have been so funny. And my only other complaint is like this weird need to like shoehorn it into like other formats, like the Curb Your Enthusiasm thing. I thought it was funny. I thought it was its own thing. Like I thought that like making like was it like the civil rights movement like a 70s sitcom?
The Shirley Chisholm thing.
Yeah, it was like the Jeffersons or
and it's like no, that was like funny and like I could get into it, but like History of the World Part 1 like set a tone, told us what it was. It was like truly a parody of history, and it was just like us watching like a epic, except for it was ridiculously slapstick and like
didn't do the gimmicky stuff.
Yeah, and this could have done that too, and it still could have had those moments. I would have been fine with them like breaking away, like they kind of did that in the first movie with like the I say the first movie, the only movie. Yeah. They kind of did that in the original with like the game show bit in the Caesar's Palace where like they're they bring in everything and
the main room.
Yeah, the main room and like the curtain draws and all that. Like, okay, I feel like I'm watching The Price is Right, but they don't explicitly be like The Price is Right, and like Bob Barker doesn't like walk out. You know what I mean? Like that, but it feels like that's something they would have done in Part 2. And I just feel like if you were a comedy writer today and you are a big deal comedy writer, like a Nick Kroll or like Ike Barinholtz or any of these people, like your dream should have been to have made this show. And then to have seen it come together the way it did, like, hurts me personally. But I also feel like that's been what they've been doing with reboots lately, where, like, it doesn't matter what it is. Yeah. The networks or the studios see, like, oh, my gosh, there's a whole brand new audience that we can open up to this, like, existing IP, forgetting about the fact the reason the existing IP was so popular was because it was done a certain way back then. Like, there's no reason to, like, give it something new, like just to modernize it. Like by making a new version of it, that is giving it something new. And like, I mean, I felt that way with Hocus Pocus. I did not watch the Disenchanted thing. Like I felt that way. I heard like the only one that people aren't complaining about right now is Top Gun. So like, good job.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Yeah, I know.
So, but like, yeah, it's just, I feel like it was like, maybe just like if it's 30 years old, just like it was 30 years old and it was really good back then. Like let it live on that way as opposed to like this like very. Well,
so are you saying that you don't want the Search for More Money, Spaceballs 2, if that actually did materialize?
Like I'd go watch it. Yeah. I wanted. You know what I really wanted? I remember that. What I really wanted was them to make Spaceballs the musical. That would have been.
I mean, that's got to be done, right? Like it's some small theater.
Someone.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, if it is, buy me a ticket. Let's go. I'm fucking there. I would buy any Spaceballs merch.
Dude, I watched that movie. Well, let's move on to Spaceballs.
Yeah,
I guess.
let's move on. Sorry for my rant. But
merchandising,
I went off.
Where the real money from the movie is made. When I saw that again this time. And you could see that it's like a Transformers comic that has Spaceballs on it. They really like just did up stuff in there, you know. The lunch boxes are the same way. But I wanted all of it. And I especially wanted the yogurt doll, you know, that would I want to be with you. Yeah, I thought that was one of the best.
Adorable.
Yeah,
oh
adorable.
My God.
But what's so great about like he introduces the merchandising thing, like the flamethrower and all these different the breakfast cereal and whatever. And then, like, the very next scene, we cut back to President Scroob, and he's underneath a Spaceballs blanket.
The blanket
or whatever.
With the gum twins. The Dentine twins.
Chew your gum.
Chew your gum. Hello, Marlene. I'm Charlene.
Hello, Charlene. I'm Marlene.
Chew your gum.
I told you never to call me on this one.
This is an unlisted wall.
President Scroob.
What is it?
I have an urgent message from Lord Helmet. He's lost the princess.
Where?
Somewhere in the sands of Vega.
Tell them to comb the desert, do you hear me? Comb the desert!
Oh my god. That was like Star Trek more than Star Wars, right? That whole like
The beaming.
The beaming, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snotty. Was
Snotty
his name?
beamed
Snotty.
me twice
Yeah.
last
And
night.
they made him like a real Scottish guy too. They put him like in that hat with the little beanie on there and everything.
The kilt.
Lock 1, lock 2, lock 3, lock Lolan.
Oh my gosh.
Why didn't somebody tell me my ass was so big?
The end when they're all like eject buttons and stuff. What a cool
with that
spaceship.
cool theme song too. Like if thinking back to that, they actually wrote a theme song for that movie, so that also has like a musical interlude in it that's very Mel Brooks. That whole ending.
Spaceballs the musical would have been it.
I think you're
They
right.
they could have put Jews in space in there too.
Cause what you got is what we need, and all we do is dirty deeds. We're the Spaceballs! We're the Spaceballs!
So the very opening of this movie, though, it starts off that they're making fun of Star Wars, and they're doing the sort of scrolling text rolling. Yeah. No, but before that, they have the scrolling text coming up, and the first Star Wars it says like chapter 4 or whatever, and this one they say it's chapter 11.
Yeah.
So does that mean it's History of the World Part 11?
Oh, I thought they were just going
Oh,
bankrupt.
I thought it was just filing bankruptcy. But
in chapter 11, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one because I remember, and I did want to bring that up, is that, like I said, I was little. This is the first Mel Brooks movie I got to see in the theater when it was in its original release. I might be aging myself right now. But my grandparents took me, and they were telling me, and my cousin Ricky, they're just like, we love this guy. We've been watching this guy for 20 years at this point, right? Mel Brooks. And they're like, we can't wait to see a new Mel Brooks movie. And so they took me to see it, and I liked it because it's got Star Wars in it, and it's got makeup effects, and it's got goofy monsters and all that stuff that I could jump onto, and all the little stupid humor. And I remember the crawl at the beginning. It's a crawl that's just like Star Wars. It gives you the whole background of the story, and then at the end it says, if you can read this, you don't need glasses.
Yeah.
Remember laughing?
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I know the movie is just like, it's so like nonstop. It's like
nonstop.
The opening scroll has all these jokes in it. The comically long ship that just like goes on for like 20 minutes.
And ever and ever.
And it says we break for nobody or whatever.
The first line that's spoken when you get in the spaceship is,
yes.
what's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken?
I don't actually think I ever caught that. How did
Really?
I ever catch that?
His name's Colonel Sanders. It's
Oh my god.
like the chicken guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
KFC guy.
like KFC, right? Oh my! I don't know
can't
how.
stop.
I don't
It's
think
too
I ever
dangerous.
caught that. But that's the thing about that movie too. Like you said, it doesn't stop. It's joke. Like I think it took me like 5 times before I ever heard all the jokes because sometimes I would laugh.
100%. I was hearing more this last time.
Right, you're like, I never caught that before. Maybe I was already laughing before the movie started.
Right.
And I think that's part of the problem is that the jokes overlap each other. So you're laughing, and then there's already another bit that pops up, and you missed it.
Pizza's gonna send
Right.
out for you.
Is that Don DeLuise too? Pizza the Hut?
The voice was, yeah.
The voice, yeah.
Well, if it isn't Lone Star and his sidekick, Puke.
That's barf.
I do want to talk about Colonel Sanders, though.
Yes.
I think it's George Weiner. I want to say his name correctly. He's been a character actor forever. He was in like movies even into the early 2000s. But I thought, stole it for me because he played that role so seriously, so buttoned up. But he was like delivering line after line after line. There's one scene when they're pushing in, and Rick Moranis is like, "There's only one who would dare, jam with strawberry or whatever." And he's just pushing into the
me a
camera.
raspberry.
But you see Colonel Sanders look at the camera and he goes, and he just
he
moves
gets
out
out
of the
of the
way.
way.
He
Get out of the
notices
way.
it.
Yeah.
And the camera like bonks him in the face. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the big helmet.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I can't breathe in this thing.
You look at this movie and you see that Industrial Light and Magic did the effects for it. And then you're like, holy shit. But you got to think, like, at the time, this is when Lucas was on now Jedi, right? Or at least just came out with Jedi not too long ago. Is that right? 84, 85?
83 or 4, yeah.
Right, so it's like after that, there's still all this hype. Star Wars is still a huge thing. And then Mel Brooks comes to George Lucas and says, I want to parody your Star Wars films. He's like, sure, you can do it, but you can't make the main guy look like Han Solo. He's like, fine. So he makes him look like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
You look
like the leather jacket and all that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So
God,
good.
Bill Pullman is so like perfect in this. Like he's funny. He's also like you could imagine the straight version of this movie where he's also just playing that same
100%.
character.
Oh,
Yes,
totally.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's literally, I mean, his character is only funny by proxy, right?
Right,
Like, it's just like everything he does is he does funny things because of the
But he
situation.
is the straight man.
Only
of the
what you need to survive.
Oh my gosh. That's my supersonic hairdryer and I can't live without it. So good.
Oh, my favorite bit about the like about the industrial strength hairdryer thing is like that like they throw it out and drop it on the ground and then they keep carrying the empty trunk afterwards.
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah.
a lot lighter now.
Yeah.
You never know who you're gonna have to pick up along the way, you know?
Yeah.
So good. And I can't live without it. The barf thing, the barf, like whatever. I love what he's like. They're like, what's your name? He's like, Barf. And they're like, your full
Not
name.
here,
He's
you
like,
know.
Bartholomew.
This is a Mercedes.
Bartholomew. Yeah, exactly. It's a Mercedes. God, John
Stop
Candy,
looking at my can.
legend.
Sorry.
Yeah, Joan Rivers, right? We've got Joan Rivers, John
yeah.
Candy. John Candy, who definitely left us too soon. But
Yeah.
another
Joan
steam suit.
Rivers,
Yeah.
also like gone. Gosh, Dot is so good. Such a like
Dot Matrix.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
just such a good.
There's another one. She's got the like. What is it? She's got the virgin alarm or whatever.
Yeah.
I go off before
gosh,
you
like
do. It's like the chastity belt.
The chastity belt, right? Exactly.
and the don't enter, the no entry sign.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I forgot about that scene too, with when the like her eyes just like light up red when they're all sleeping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So good.
It's like, what did he touch? What did he touch?
Abandon ship! Abandon ship! Women and mugs first!
We'll have none of that, mister.
What the hell was that noise?
That was my virgin alarm. It's programmed to go off before you do.
There's also the Michael Winslow cameo
Yes, God.
from Police Academy.
The creeps and the sweeps.
Oh my gosh.
I just love when he goes to talk on the microphone. He's like,
Sir,
What is it?
can I talk to you, please, sir?
Yeah. You don't need that. We're right here, and he keeps the voice going.
Yeah.
After he puts the
What is
intercom
it?
back.
What is it like? Yeah.
Well,
I'm trying to hear, sir.
you don't need that, Private. We're right here. Now, what is it?
I'm trying to hear, sir.
Now, what is it?
The radar is jammed. I lost the beeps, the bleeps, and the creeps.
yeah.
Or the sweeps. Yeah. Oh my gosh, and his whole face jiggles. And I remember like being in like, I think I saw this for the first time, and oh my gosh, I had a really, really good education. 6th grade science class, that's where we watched it. And
Nice.
it was super cool.
What did you learn from this?
Yeah.
You know,
regards to science?
If you can
Scientifically
store
accurate.
air in a pure air can.
What I learned from this is that I should go to film school.
Yeah.
That's what I learned. But
Hey, that's good.
yeah, I just remember like
Yeah, so you
that
can be
was
poor
the
the rest of
moment.
your life too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
Freelance.
Really good for
Yeah.
myself. Freelance forever.
Yay.
That's where I learned that I could do this.
Yeah.
It was from that movie.
Sorry, I didn't realize you're building up to that one.
The bleeps. The sweeps. And the creeps.
That's not all he's lost.
Major asshole. I'm surrounded by assholes.
My asshole.
I knew it.
Who else here is an asshole? I.
I said fire across her nose, not up it.
Oh my
God, I love the fact that sort of they're making fun of all the Star Wars weird helmets in Star Wars, and everyone's got this bulbous round. It almost looks like a 50s hairdryer thing.
Oh.
And, like I got a beauty parlor, and it's like it's like, but it's this gigantic ball on top of everybody's head. They're all the Spaceballs, and like they finally pay that gag off at the very end when they're like and they're playing the epic music as they're all evacuated, and a guy's like playing the timpanis, and he's playing the helmets of these guys.
Bum. Mega Maid.
Oh my gosh.
Metamorphosis completed, sir. Spaceball 1 has now become... Mega Maze.
Yeah, so that was interesting, right? Because they went for like well, it was a transformer, and they even said that, right? So you've got a little Transformers in there, but it looks like the Statue of Liberty, right? Like it's a really weird design.
Well, because once the escape pods started going off, they were going off like through her like little hat,
exactly,
which became the crown or whatever of the Statue of Liberty.
And did you know that Scroob is Brooks backwards? I didn't know that.
Oh my God, wow. I did not.
President Scroob. Salute.
Someone mentioned, someone told me that at one point, and it just didn't stick. But yeah, that now that you say that, you're right.
I did not know that, and this is another thing that has just turned my world upside down, but right way up.
Don't be ridiculous. As president of Planet Spaceball, I can assure both you and your viewers that there's absolutely no air shortage whatsoever. Yes, thanks for calling and not reversing the charges yet. Bye. Shithead.
How great was like they always do the sort of like Mel Brooks is really great at doing the like meta comedy or whatever, where it's like I think before we were recording we started talking about like how like what part of the movie is this? It's like it's home video. It's like before the movie comes out or whatever. And they're talking about how like they're going to fast forward to like find out where everybody is and like when is this happening? It's now.
When will then be now? Soon. How soon?
And continuing that, like there's that moment where they're having the sort of like the Schwartz fight or whatever with their dick rings, and like and he kills a camera guy or whatever.
Oh yeah,
he did it.
He did it.
But and then later they're escaping from the prison, and they're like, "Aha, we've got you!" And it's like Stephen Tobolowsky from like
and all
from everything. Yeah,
turn around, please.
And it's like, you idiot! You captured their stunt doubles.
Oh,
Daphne Zuniga's stunt doubles got a beard.
Like, it was this guy with a beard and a stubby cigar and like a Hitler mustache. It was like.
Leave it to Mel Brooks. He has
oh
to
my God, I was dying.
Right?
So funny.
God.
You idiots! These are not them. You've captured their stunt doubles!
We were talking about some repeating people that are in each of the movies. And in History of the World Part 1, we had John Hurt was Christ, right?
As like a cameo of Jesus.
Right,
exactly. And they did like a Who's on First. Like, Jesus Christ. Yes?
He's like, yes.
What?
Yeah. Jesus. Ah, Jesus.
What?
Yep.
What?
Yes.
That was
Jesus.
hilarious.
Yes. That's
but
so
then
good.
But then he's also comes for Spaceballs. As he plays the same role that he played in Alien.
Like, how funny was it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, at the end.
The Sigourney Weaver and Yaphet Kotto, like, stunt doubles there, too.
Yeah, they look pretty good, right?
I noticed the Yaphet Kotto one every time, but, like, for whatever reason, I always, like, miss the Sigourney Weaver one, and this time I finally caught it, and I was like, oh my God.
I like the Yaphet Kotto one because he's telling that weird joke.
I got it. We on Pluto. It was a Harry, how can you tell? He said... From the bark, you dummies! From the bark!
Pluto! But I was wondering, like, how John Hurt got involved with this group. And I guess I'm thinking back, I'm like, John Hurt was the Elephant Man. And Mel Brooks produced that film.
Right.
So I think that's where they might have had their connection.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just a guess.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's I think, I don't know if I said this earlier. I think I was thinking it, but it's just like, that's the dream is like, you come out to LA, you don't know a lot of people, everyone's got the dream, right? And like, ultimately, you just want to make stuff with good people. And so you think like, Mel Brooks found good people and they all worked well together, and then they just kept on churning out good stuff.
And he was discovering good people too, right? Gregory Hines, this is his first movie, was History of the World. And then Gregory Hines, all of a sudden, he's big in mainstream, even though he was popular, but not in the movie world.
I didn't realize that was his first
I believe
movie,
that, or at least a very early film of his, yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Josephus! Hey, motherfucker!
But like, to your point, like finding people who are like talented and funny and all this stuff and like making good stuff, but like also sticking to his crew. Like, I don't know. It was just,
that was pretty good for Rambo.
My hair.
Yeah.
He shot my hair.
Nobody.
Bitch. Oh my God. That's my favorite.
She's a bass.
No trouble of
Funny. She didn't look Jewish.
Yeah.
Oh my god. The like nose job scene.
Yeah.
When they're like
Give her back
give me
her old
the
nose."
password or I'm going to have Dr. whatever give her a
Schlotkins.
Give her a nose job. Did I say
But she's already had a nose job. It's like, give her
old
back
nose.
her old nose.
If you do not give me the combination to the air shield, Dr. Slotkin will give your daughter back her old nose.
What's that
I
thing? It's
understand. That would be terrible. I paid for this one.
Yeah.
I would also react that way. I'd be like, Dad, give them the password now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I've changed the password of my luggage.
That's fantastic.
The best part about that whole like silly like nose job gag was like that. The plastic surgeon, like, well, first of all, as he's leaving, he's like, "I'm still gonna bill you for this." But,
Go work on your putts.
but before that, it was like, you know, he was like threatening to do it. He had these two like I don't know giant saw blade things, and he was like
machetes,
like scraping them against each other as if that was sharpening them. So
just dulling the knife. Yeah.
Is that what it does? It dulls them?
It's definitely not good to do metal on metal. Yeah, that's.
Well, I don't do metal on metal because of the sound, so I wouldn't know that. but I always thought that like you have like that thing in your knife thing that like it's like a big metal thing.
But that's along the side. I think we're getting a bit of a tangent here for this show.
Sure, sorry.
This is the cooking portion of Grindhouse Institute.
Well, no, you're educating me. I told you what I learned in science class.
Yeah.
Spaceballs. So
you learned how to.
Well, did it work? Where's the key?
It works, sir. We have the combination.
Great. What's the combination? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
That's amazing. I've got the same combination on my luggage.
Wait, so what was your picture with Mel Brooks with your old nose?
No, it was with my new nose. It just wasn't fully healed yet.
Okay.
It took about 2 years to go all the way down.
I see.
So was this Bill Pullman's first movie?
Oh man, that's a good question. That would be
Well,
insane.
He started, well, I mean, because I think the same year as when he came out with Serpent and the Rainbow. I thought that was in '87, but I might be wrong.
No, that was the next year. No, I mean, I guess
Next year.
technically his first movie was Ruthless People.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's in that.
Yeah, and then Serpent and the Rainbow was the next year, but yeah. But in this movie, he learned that evil will always triumph because good is dumb.
Because good is dumb. May the Schwartz be with you.
Spaceballs the t-shirt. Spaceballs the coloring book. Spaceballs the lunchbox. Spaceballs the breakfast cereal. Spaceballs the flamethrower. That kids love this one.
I want to go back to that VHS scene real quick when they're, filming the movie or making the VHS as the movie's being made.
Uh-huh.
And they're fast forwarding through it, and Rick Moranis sees the whole ludicrous speed issue, and he's like, go past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Ludicrous Speed. That was so good. We've never done Ludicrous Speed before.
It's funny because they took because it's called light speed, right? Which is light, the speed of light. But they said like light is in like easy going.
Oh, right, as in like
light, and then ridiculous, and then ludicrous.
Ludicrous Speed.
They've gone planned.
My brains are going into my feet.
I love the Colonel Sanders right before he commands before he commands the ludicrous speed. He like his voice breaks.
What's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken?
Prepare ship! Prepare ship for ludicrous speed!
And he tries to gather himself again.
Like chicken? He's being a chicken. Colonel Sanders is being
There
a
you
chicken.
go.
Oh, how did I never catch it?
See? You're always going to learn
Oh my
something new
God.
watching these movies because there's so many things in
This is
there.
such a beautiful ship. You guys should go down with it.
Oh my God.
I love that. Also, like the self-destruct countdown. She like psychs him out at one point. Like, what happened
Kidding.
to 7? Yeah, kidding.
Yeah.
Counting down. 10, 9, 8, 6.
6! What happened to 7?
Just kidding.
Yeah, like again, like working on the lot with him and running into him was like not in infrequent occurrence. I've had 3 pretty decent run-ins with him. The first one of which where I was like walking on the lot on the phone with somebody, like a client or something, trying to mail something out. And then Mel Brooks just like rolls up next to me, rolls down his window and goes, "Tell him I say hello." And I'm like, he says hi because like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And he's like, "No, tell him Mel Brooks says hello." And I was like, "Mel Brooks says hello." And then he speeds away in his little like Highlander or whatever, car it was. And this man is a menace and he's like gonna hit someone on the lot. I swear. He did almost hit me the next time when I was walking to the mailroom, as I did, carrying like one of you might have worked on the Sour Patch Kids campaign. I don't know.
I was there during that. Yeah.
I was mailing out Sour Patch Kids, I remember. And
it's stacked so high you couldn't see over the top of them. Yeah.
Well, it was like in a box, right? And he did it again. He drove past me. He rolls down the window. He goes, "What's in the box?" And I was like, "This is my moment. I can be funny." And so I was like, "Candy, want some?" And then he goes, "Mom said don't take candy from strangers." And then drives away again. And I'm like, this man, he's 92 years old and so like sharp and fast. And then after that, like I got my like real like, I always said if I would ever, meet you, I wanted to tell you this little story. And he was really sincere and nice. And then I got to take a photo with him, and that was it. But like, and then he would wave to me on the lot, like when because he drove to work like a regular person. And
like a regular.
I don't know. I think I think he was just like that friendly guy on the lot. He would wave to whoever he was walking by or driving by, like so.
Come back!
Dani, thanks so much for joining us talking Mel Brooks films.
Thank you. This was so fun.
Where can people find you, and what do you have going on?
Yeah. Well, I'm heavily active on Instagram, most of which you can see me just bitching about requels. So follow me there if you're interested in that kind of content. And it's also a lot of pictures of my dog.
What's the handle there?
It's that at Dani Abe, DANIABE. You can edit that out. And then I just produced a movie.
Congrats.
Thank you. It just came out, and it's, it's actually very similar humor to that of Mel Brooks. Very slapsticky, like,
awesome.
I can't say nothing will ever be as good as that, but if you're into that kind of content, that kind of humor, it's a very slapstick movie. It's called Murder Anyone. You can stream it on any VOD platform, and I would love it if you checked it out.
Great.
We definitely will. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description.
Yeah.
Should that be a midnight movie for us, maybe?
Yeah.
We can have you back.
It's a good midnight movie. Oh, I'll come back. I'll talk about it. It's a fun one.
3, 2, 1. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
All right, next time on the show, we will be doing rock operas. We'll be talking Rocky Horror Picture Show, Phantom of the Paradise, and Repo, the Genetic Opera.
Yeah.
This is one that I've been trying to push on the show. I don't know how Jeremy's going to feel about Repo, the Genetic Opera. I know I liked it when it first came out, but we'll see how that turns out. But I think you'll enjoy it. But rock opera, this is an interesting genre.
Yeah, I have to say I'm not super familiar with any of these movies or the genre in general.
Even Rocky Horror?
Rocky Horror, yeah, of course I'm aware of it. I've never seen it all the way through. I've seen pieces of it. And here's what I want to do. When we're going to watch this, I think we should go to the New Art because they show it every Saturday.
At like a midnight showing or something?
Yeah.
I am totally down for that because I think we
Let's
should do
it.
that for an experience, right?
Yeah.
And now, let's end this meeting on a high note.
Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure to subscribe and follow us on all the podcasts and social platforms at the Grindhouse Institute. And if you really want to give us a boost, check us out on Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review. It helps us to get noticed. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll be back next week.
Ciao.
Dear me, what are those things coming out of her nose?
Spaceballs?
Oh, shit. There goes the planet.